You can drill it, mill it, screw it, tap it, cut it, file it, rasp it, chisel it, bandsaw it, sand it, and you can spread it. So what is this amazing material? Polyester body filler, otherwise known as Bondo. My name is 𝐁𝐨𝐧𝐝𝐶. I'm an industrial designer. Welcome to my channel about product design and making. I hope that you like, enjoy, and become a subscriber. Make sure that you hit that little bell next to the subscribe button too, in case you haven't already done so. That way you'll be notified every time I have a new video. When you're talking about polyester resin, this is the basic stuff. It's what you guys know as fiberglass resin. Most of the time, this resin is soaked into a cloth, and they use it for building boats and car skins and all kinds of other parts. And so when you hear the word fiberglass, that's generally what they're referring to, is this resin that's impregnated some sort of a fabric or a mat to give it some strength. So let's mix up a little bit of polyester body filler, which is basically the resin that has talc added to it to thicken it up. And you can buy many different types of body filler out there. In this case, there's lightweight body filler, and this has glass beads that's added to the material to make it a little bit lighter weight. Now, typically, most of you think of Bondo being used for slapping on cars and fixing dents and things like that, and it's originally intended for that. It was invented by Bondo Bob Robert Spink after World War II. He was a Navy pilot, and he was really the original inventor of what we know today as body filler. And it was originally used to help out and be safer than the lead that was being used at the time. So after the war ended, body panels became bigger and the metal got thinner, and using lead wasn't so good for your health anymore, and people started figuring that out. Not that polyester is the safest thing on the planet, but it's certainly better than lead. Now, there's also a very high quality polyester glazing putty that I often use after my initial Bondo part has set, and that's to fill little small pinholes and gaps that are left. And this has basically replaced spot putty, which is a thick lacquer paint that was used way back in the day, and that's pretty much been replaced by glazing putty, so it's a little smoother and just sands really nice. There's one other product that's worth mentioning here, and this is gel coat. It's a polyester gel coat, and it's a little harder than Bondo. It's quite a bit harder than Bondo, and they'll often use it to make boat hulls or vehicle skins with. And they'll lay this in the mold first, and then they'll put their fiberglass resin behind it, and it gives you a very tough, strong, durable finish for a finished appearance part. Enough about the basics of polyester resin and a quick little history or lesson here. We're going to add a little bit of hardener to our Bondo that we're mixing up, and I add in some ink toner as well. I'm going for a sort of orange type mixture here instead of the standard pink that you normally get from the gray and then the red hardener or blue hardener, whatever color your hardener is, that's added into the resin. So I'm mixing it up really thoroughly. Now, in general, Bondo I don't think is a great sort of casting material. It's sort of too thick to really get into any sort of molds. You can see how thick it is here compared to like a urethane resin. But I can put it into this basic mold here at an early stage, and I can let that cure, and I'll have something that I can machine up. But let me show you a few other things that Bondo is really good at, and it's really good for filling and plugging holes. Here, just a little piece of copper tubing, and I'm just going to pop some in there, and it has thickness, and it sort of can support its own weight to a certain extent, and it works really great for filling holes and things like that. When it sets, it's easily finished. So in the same vein, I'm going to basically scoop some out of here. I'm going to fill up the end of a piece of PVC. Works fantastic. Has similar sort of density to PVC, and I find it works quite well for working with PVC models or mock-ups and using that. And it works very well. It's very compatible. And I'm just popping that onto a piece of wax paper because the Bondo will not stick to that. It of course works fantastic on wood. I'm just going to put a little bit on the wood here to show you how well it sticks. And wood, and also has a very similar sort of density and sands at a very similar rate. This is a piece of balsa wood. It's a little bit softer than the Bondo, but pine and stuff has very similar characteristics. For model making purposes, Bondo is actually pretty nice for layering on top of like a foam, and in this case I'm going to put it on a urethane foam, and the urethane foam is not affected by the polyester resin, so really easy to just trowel on here with a little scraper card, and that allows me to basically put a skin on that urethane foam. I'm going to put some on a part here, which is a carbon fiber piece. This is a piece of a hockey stick. Same concept as before, fill in a hole, but it should stick to that as well, even though the hockey stick is probably made with epoxy. Now you'll see a lot of times for really, really big parts, particularly like vehicle plugs and stuff, they will put Bondo on top of styrofoam, whether it's this polystyrene right here or like the pink insulation or the blue insulation. Now you can do it. It will attack that material and break it down. It needs to be sealed first. I suggest using like a shellac, and you're going to see here in a second I'm going to pop off that dried body filler, and you can see how it has melted the polystyrene. It is the similar material, polyester resin, polystyrene, and so it basically melts that stuff. I'm also going to pop some onto some holes in this piece of wood. Again, like I mentioned before, it works fantastic for filling holes. It's tremendous for that. Here I'm even using it on a previous video where I made this skull cane. I'll put some body filler on both pieces. Obviously it's tinted black with a black toner, and I'm gluing two pieces together. The stuff sets up quite quickly, and I'm able to quickly do that, and then here coming back and then just smoothing things out with another sort of skim coat of polyester body filler to make everything nice and smooth, and then I'll give that a final sanding. So it works really, really nice, used in the correct application. You can use it for lots of things. So that's an intro to polyester body filler and resin. I showed you a little bit about how to mix it up and how to trowel it into place, scoop it, how to sort of work it. In the next videos, I will show you how we take the Bondo, maybe use it to fill it, edges and corners, and how it can be used more specifically for model making purposes. Including stuff like what I call like a Bondo squeeze, and also for extruding. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can click on the little icon on the bottom right of the screen to do that. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Rock on. Click here to watch some of the other design and making videos that I have. If you'd like to have your music featured in one of my videos, drop me a line.